It's that time of year again, the time that any respectable YouTuber would put together a list of their favorite things for 2025. And being a respectable YouTuber, I have decided to put together my list of favorite games of 2025. Now, my list of games might be a little bit different than your typical list of games. Those of you that have been following the channel for a while, you know what you're getting into. If you stumble across this and you don't know who I am, hello. I play a lot of different things. I play a lot of games. And I like games that are different, period. So this list is going to be a bunch of games that are probably different than what you will see on other lists. Just a heads up. But enough yammering. Let's start with number 10 on my favorite games of 2025. Lens Island. This is an open-world survival crafting game. You start out on an island, you build yourself a little hut, you chop some trees down, mine some rocks, get yourself a little house, a garden. Explore the island. There is a bit of a story and a quest that you can follow, and eventually it takes you out into other islands. You build yourself a boat and explore the place. I think the thing that probably pushed this over the top to number 10 for me is because I played this multiplayer on the channel, and that was a lot of fun. I think this game does well multiplayer, up to 8 players. And with that kind of an isometric ARPG feeling, once you dive down into the dungeons and hack and slash and come back and build your house, it's a lot of fun. By Flow Studio, hit 1.0 this year in June. Number 9 is, we'll give this one the Copycat Award. This is Void War. Void War is clearly inspired, some would say a copy of FTL. If you're familiar with FTL, you get yourself a spaceship, you hire yourself a crew, each of those crews man a certain station, and you make your way through space, from point to point through space, fighting bandits or whatever else is out there. Void War is basically Warhammer 40k. It's Warhammer 40k without the term Warhammer 40k mentioned anywhere near the game. As you make your way through space, this terrible space, there's things trying to take you out. You're trying to defend your ship. And I put it here because it is a lot of fun. Even though it's very, very similar to FTL, it's a lot of fun. And it makes my number 9 for my list of favorite games. Came out in June of this year by Tundra. Number 8, Songs of Silence, gets a bit of an asterisk because it didn't come out in 2025. It came out in 2024, which I played the demo of this back in 2024, and it was okay. It was fun, but it wasn't top 10 list worthy. Well, I played it again this year, and there's been a bunch of updates in the past, in the few months since it released, and it has changed a bunch, and I think it deserves a spot on this list. Because of the changes they made, I enjoy this quite a bit. What is Songs of Silence? It is clearly inspired by Heroes of Might and Magic 3, where you take yourself a leader, or a few leaders, build yourself up an army, and march across the map, claiming resources, claiming towns, and building up bigger armies. Once you get into the combat mode, it goes into this turn-based tactical style of combat. And nothing new there, but they have pieced together from different genres and, of course, the art style and made into something its own. And I thoroughly enjoyed last time I played this one this year by Chimera Entertainment. Came out November 13th, 2024, but still worth a list on 2025's list. Number 7 on my list is The Wandering Village, one of a few city-building colony builders you'll see here on the list. You're making yourself a city on the back of a giant wandering creature, an Onbu, they call it. And so you're both trying to build a town on this guy, but you're also trying to deal with Onbu and keeping him happy, not drilling into his back too much, not making sure you're feeding the guy so that he will go the way you want him to go and not wandering through the terrible post-apocalyptic world. So not only dealing with the town, dealing with the Onbu, and also sending out scouts to go kind of explore the world around you as he walks along the world. This is by Strayfawn Publishing, Strayfawn Studio, and it came out in 2025. Number 6 is Master of Command. Take command in Europe's greatest 18th century war in this sort of like Napoleonic or Age of Rifles era of real-time battles set across a bunch of campaigns. You start out by selecting your empire, and you're moving across the overworld by building up your units and kind of commanding them around kind of a Mountain Blade style of overworld. But then when you get into the battles, it switches over into this Total War. You get this whole real-time style battle with your armies all laid out. And then once the battle's over, you run to the nearest town, re-equip, recruit, and move on to the next. It's by Armchair History Interactive. Came out in October of this year. Number 5 is Ratopia. This is a rat colony builder. So there's a sort of side view, sort of like an oxygen not included style of thing, where you are a bunch of rats. You're actually the head rat, and you are hiring a bunch of other rats to come in and work for you. You assign them jobs, and they manage the things like mining and woodcutting and crafting and all of that stuff as you build your town. As you progress through the game, you end up building wonders and exploring the outside world with your community of rats. Castle Games developed this one back in April of this year. Number 4 on the list is Necesse. Build, quest, and conquer across an infinite, procedurally generated world. You build yourself a settlement, explore some dungeons, you can fight a bunch of monsters and bosses out there on the world. Most of the time you spend your days on your base, crafting and farming and doing all that. You can go get other villagers to build onto your town and build a town. This probably makes my list because of multiplayer. I've played this on the channel a few times, and multiplayer is a lot of fun. When you start getting a lot of folks in there, your town really starts to grow, and you can team up and go into dungeons and take out monsters. It's really a lot of fun, and I've been playing it for quite a few years, but it just hit 1.0 this year in October by Fair Games. Number 3, Farthest Frontier. Go out and build yourself a city in the harsh wilderness. If you were to take Banished, if you're familiar with Banished, it came out several years ago, and bump it up to a 2025 version of that, a Banished 2, I would call it, that's what you get with Farthest Frontier. You are not only trying to survive a few unknown threats, bears and rebels and whatever else is out there, bandits out in the world, but for the most part, you are spending your time dealing with the hardships of building a settlement in this sort of Renaissance, late medieval era of city builder. You start out, lumber camps, mines, a few barracks, fishing huts, and slowly build your town up and get some industry going, a bunch of trade going. It's really a mostly casual settlement builder, but occasionally some threats get thrown in there at you. By Crate Entertainment and full release this year in October of 2025. Number 2 is The Altars, an emotional sci-fi game, they call it. It took me a minute to figure out what I like so much about The Altars, and I have figured it out. It's basically a big Star Trek episode. You're a guy on a sci-fi setting on some alien planet, and you're trying to make your way through life, but you're also having to clone yourself, and you're trying to deal with the clones and yourself and that whole situation as you go out and mine and explore this place. Good stuff. One of the prettiest games I've ever played as well. Came out here in June of this year by 11-Bit Studios. Now, before we get to number 1, I've got a few extras. A few side things that deserve to be on the list but didn't make the top 10. So we'll start with the weirdly fun category. And that is Erenshor, a single-player RPG with the soul of a classic MMO. So if you remember those old MMOs from a long time ago, early 2000s, that feeling of running around big open world, hacking and slashing and building up your party and your character. That's what this is, except it's single player. And the people running around in the world, they feel like real people. They say dumb things, and you can hire them to your party, and they still say dumb things. But it's, if you remember those old days of old MMOs, that's what this is. It's hard to explain it. Fast open world RPG with AI characters, I suppose, as you explore this big RPG by Burgie Media, and it came out here in April of this year. It is still in early access and still developing as we speak. Next up, we have the unheard of category. Saelig is one that's been around for a little while. Came out in 2017 originally. It's still in early access. And I've come back to it and played it a few times, and every time I do, I forget about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a fun game. I should play it again. And I feel like maybe that's something that a lot of people do because it doesn't seem like it has the reviews that it should. This is a simulation strategy RPG. You are centered in an old medieval town. You are not the captain of this town or leader of this town. You're just some regular dude living in this town. You get yourself a house, you get yourself a business, you get yourself a wife, and it all revolves around that business and life that you are trying to live here in medieval land. You can, of course, also be a raider, a bandit if you want, a thief, or you can just be like a fisherman or a trader or whatever. And it's a very open world, open setting by Aethercorp Games and came out 2017, still in early access. Every November, I have a free games month, and this year I discovered Veloren. Veloren is not on Steam, it is at veloren.net, but it is a completely free, vast, open-world RPG. You're set in this fantasy world. You get yourself a character. You're basically a nothing at start, but slowly as you play the game, you get experience, you get gear, and you become something. But again, completely free. And it's the thing that's surprising about this is just how vast and complex and deep a free game like this is. It's multiplayer, of course, and you can team up and deal with monsters and bosses and gear yourself out in a sort of a traditional style of MMO, kind of like Erenshor, which I just mentioned. But again, completely free here at Veloren.net. For the what did I just play category, we have the Monster Breeder. This is, as the category implies, a weird one. Turn-based fantasy gladiatorial game with monster breeding. You're running an arena and a gladiator or ludus, basically, and you're getting these monsters in, these animals, and you are crossbreeding them. So if you want like a beetle with spider legs or a bear with a raptor face, that's what you do. And you manipulate these creatures and you breed them into some freaky gladiator monsters, and then you send them out to battle in the arena. It's weird, but fascinating. It is in. It came out 1.0 this year in May by Fantasy Creations. For the Early Access award, for the game that I foresee myself playing a lot of in the coming years, we've got Town to City. This is you're building an idyllic 19th century Mediterranean town. A very open, gridless setting. Very pretty game for the voxel art that it has. And people come in, you assign them a house. Each person kind of has their own characteristics. And so slowly but surely the town starts to grow. You start with this little village, popping down some houses, popping down a patisserie or whatever else, a lumber mill, those kind of things. And slowly developing the thing. It's not about building a town that will survive the elements. It's just about building a pretty town. And cozy city builder, they call it. But it is one that I foresee myself playing a lot of in the coming years. And it hit early access here just in September of this year by Galaxy Grove, and Quali is publishing this one. Number 1 on my list of favorite games of 2025, Foundation, a gridless medieval city building game. You start with a hut of a few settlers, and slowly over time, they begin to develop a small little settlement, which then grows into a village, which then grows into a kingdom. You can build castles and monasteries. The thing that really entices me about this game, and I've played it for a long time, it just hit 1.0 this year. The thing about this that I like so much is the way that the citizens build their own houses. You play out a plot of land, and they will develop it for you. It's a very organic city builder. I'm not having to place down every single house and manipulate where everything goes. It organically grows from a small settlement into a big town. There's a few buildings where you can piece by piece intricately make them, like a castle or the monastery, which is another thing in the cozy, laid back style of this game. There's not a lot of fighting, not a lot of challenge to it, other than just keeping your town happy and running. But it is an ideal, one of the best city builders, medieval city builders that are out there, period. And it's one of my favorites. And it is my favorite of 2025 by Polymorph Games. Came out 1.0, January 31st of this year. And there's my list. There is my favorite games of 2025. A little different, but not different for me. It's a lot of city builders. It's been a lot of years, though, where I haven't had any city builders in there. This was a city builder year, I guess. But yeah, good stuff this year. I am excited to see what's coming out next year. I have an idea of what's coming out next year and what I'm looking forward to. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this year. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.